What's good, folks? Welcome to this film edition of Disguised Coverage presented by One Pipe Pizza. I am your host, Anthony. Find me on Twitter at pro__ant. That's pro two underscores ANT. In this film edition of Disguised Coverage, I wanted to dive into Keon Coleman's first 100-yard receiving game as a pro in the NFL. We're going to look at all 7 targets from this past week's game against the Tennessee Titans, plus a couple reps that I think are representative of where he is right now as a player in terms of his development and in terms of his trajectory overall. And we'll get into more of this as we go through. It was nice to see him find some success again this week. So I thought it was important to see how and why he found that success and where he still has some areas of opportunity to improve. Also, a bit of housekeeping. I will be dropping the regular in-season weekly matchup episode for Bills versus Seahawks later this week, also in an offline recording fashion. I'm doing that in order to accommodate the guest that I have for this week to talk Bills Seahawks. Without further ado, let's dive into the film. This first target of the game for Keon Coleman comes on a 3rd and 10. It comes against Jarvis Brownlee Jr., rookie corner out of Louisville, who loves to play physical at the line, in the stem, and at the catch point. He's very comfortable in press, both in true and soft shoe press. True press is more of when you see a jam, when you see a corner getting hands on the receiver right at the line of scrimmage. A soft shoe press is more of a mirroring type of press where you are using your feet, you are mirroring and matching the receiver's body and angle off of the line. You're going to see that a lot in this game when Keon is matched up against Jarvis Brownlee. The Titans love to be physical at the line of scrimmage, but especially with Brownlee, given that's his wheelhouse and his skill set. What you're going to see on this rep from Keon Coleman is him running a deep out versus what looks to be quarters coverage from Tennessee, where they lock the backside of this 3-by-1. You can see the 3 receivers up to the top for the Buffalo Bills, Ty Johnson in the backfield, and then Keon Coleman circled at the bottom of the screen. So the Titans look to be locking that backside. So essentially, Keon is facing man coverage here one-on-one versus Brownlee. And we're going to see him try to throw Brownlee by on the break, not be able to shake him. Brownlee's going to get a good grab in there. He personally could have been flagged on this play. I like the no call. I like letting dudes play. But overall, I think this play is representative of how Keon is working to create separation now with physicality. But if he goes up against corners who like that physicality and can match that style, he's going to need to find other ways to win, like winning with deception in his stem, for example, a la Amari Cooper. So let's take a look at the play here. As I mentioned, Keon's there. Mr. Jarvis Brownlee, oh, that's an ugly circle. Mr. Jarvis Brownlee up right in his kitchen, impress on the line, on the snap. Little soft shoe press there, mirroring. And what Brownlee does, he does a good job here. He gets hands right on Keon Coleman in the stem. And you'll see Keon just start to work vertically. And as I talked about, he's going to try and throw Jarvis Brownlee by and separate on the break. This is where Brownlee gets, you see that hand right in there. It's a good grab and a good move there from Jarvis Brownlee. Again, he could have been flagged. You tend to see the flag in these situations depending on the referee crew, I guess. But I like the no call. I like letting defenders play. I think the league is so skewed towards offense and receivers and quarterbacks. So I like giving DBs and defenders a chance to kind of fight for themselves here. But if you want the flag thrown there, I understand. Keon tries to throw Brownlee by, isn't able to. Brownlee gets that hook into him a bit and then stays on his hip, stays attached, stays pretty sticky. Keon tries to work downfield. Allen throws it up. Actually, all things considered, this could have potentially been a catch downfield as Keon separates a little bit there up the sideline. That's a tough play for Allen to try and fit it in there between 2 defenders and also doing so while on the run. But again, you would see this on tape from Keon at Florida State, trying to win with that physicality, trying to throw defenders by, separating with it. And we'll see it work for him from time to time. We've seen it the past couple of weeks, honestly, on some outs, on some hooks and curls where he's able to get close to a DB and then is able to throw them by with his length and strength and physicality. But he's unable to do so on this rep. This is, again, where you'd like to see a little bit more deception, a little more shake to the route, in order to try and add a little couple extra layers instead of just, hey, let me try to muscle this guy off, especially when you're facing a corner like Brownlee, who welcomes that physicality, wants contact, and wants to battle you at the release, in the stem, and on your break. The next play that we are going to dive into is the 44-yard catch and run for Keon Coleman on 2nd and 4. So his second target of the game, first catch of the game. Again, we're going to see Mr. Jarvis Brownlee impress. He's going to get hands on Keon Coleman early. Keon's going to run a little snag route that pairs with the swing from the running back coming out of the backfield. We see this all the time from Joe Brady. Depending on what defense you get and what you get from the defense, it can create a natural pick or rub or an obstacle for defenders and create space and separation for the running back. The big piece on this one is just the off scramble nature of how this works. And let's dive right into this play here. So, Keon, there we go. Release. Brownlee is on him right here at this point. So I'm going to freeze it there for 2 points. One, you can see the coverage that's starting to develop on the back end. Two, you can start to see the tug that is happening on the jersey of Keon Coleman. Brownlee tugs Keon. This one also could have easily been a flag. I think this one should have been a flag. Grabbing the jersey, tugging like that usually results in a flag also, but it didn't again here. Brownlee tugs Keon, and then it looks like he thinks Allen is going to hit the swing to Cook, so he speed turns in what looks like an effort to jump Cook underneath. Problem is, Tennessee is in a cover 3 sky coverage here, which means the safety who came screaming down from depth has the flat here. And you can look at the rest of the coverage here, deep third, post safety, in the middle of the field back here. So that safety is coming up. Amani Hooker here. He's coming up to take James Cook, which means Brownlee needs to stay on Keon Coleman. So Brownlee jumping that swing leaves Keon wide open. Good on Keon finding space. And then after he gets the ball, he becomes hyper aware of chase down defenders, which allows him to protect the ball, but also maybe lose some extra yardage as the play progresses. And then you'll see at the end of this play how Jarvis Brownlee is quite pissed at himself. So let's let it play out in real time. See the tug. Brownlee goes for the jump. Good on Keon, finding space. Now you see him very hyper aware, paranoid, checking over his shoulder. And here's Brownlee, who ends up making the tackle downfield on Keon. You can just see him be a little frustrated with himself here because he knows, dang it, kind of frustrated with himself. And I understand it too, because before he tries to jump Cook, this is well covered. He's all over the snag route. Again, he's got hands on Keon. He's welcoming the physicality. He's playing with it. Gets that tug and that grab, which could have been a flag. But if Brownlee just stays here and attaches, you're in good position. But instead, you see he's going to get that speed turn. Looks like he's trying to jump that swing. And essentially what you get is 2 defenders on Mr. James Cook. Nobody on Keon Coleman. And then even you can see the linebackers trying to break on Allen, or maybe he's thinking, let me break down to Cook. And you just get a lot of space for Keon. But good on Keon, playing through the play, playing through the contact, played in real time one more time. Just as he gets tugged, you can see him feel the defender kind of go off, and he's like, oh, okay, I'm just going to keep moving to space. Nice little busted coverage there. This helped open things up for the Bills at this point in the game, where they were not finding a lot of offensive success, and it was a slog and a struggle early on. This next play is 14 yards for Keon Coleman on a 1st and 10. You're going to get press bail from the corner this time. It is not Mr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. on this rep. This time we have Daryl Baker in coverage against Keon Coleman. You're going to get some press bail from the corner in what looks to be cover 3 from the Titans. Coleman's running a deep curl. This is arguably my favorite play and route from him in this game. I like the stem work to work into the corner's blind spot and then stem back inside. He essentially turns Baker inside out on this rep. There's not a lot of sharpness to the stem or suddenness, but you can see how the subtlety in Coleman's stem works to create doubt in the corner and allows for Keon Coleman to create some separation. And there's also a little bit of deception here, which I also like. Here's Baker. He's in press. He's going to bail as we get closer to the snap. Now watch as Keon takes off. I like this. Working. Watch. It's subtle. You can see right there, right here at about the 35-yard line. I'm going to go back so we can see it. Right there at about the 35-yard line, you can see he starts to work outside. He starts to stem this outside there just a little bit. It's subtle. Instead of maintaining straight line, well, that's not a straight line, but instead of maintaining a straight line, he starts to bend this a little bit slightly. It's very subtle. It's very slight, but he's trying to work into that blind spot of the corner who is bailing. Works into that blind spot, and then watch the timing. His eyes are right on Baker. He is locked onto Baker. As Baker tries to speed turn and work back outside, Coleman plants, stems back inside. he's completely in the corner's blind spot. Corner's turned her inside out, lost. And then we see Keon Coleman coming back to the football and making a nice catch. I'm going to play it in real time for you so you can get a real true sense of it. And again, just watch the subtlety. Subtle stem outside, work back in. Again, not a lot of sharpness, not a lot of suddenness. There isn't a ton of head fake or, stab and change in body language. It's just simply stemming outside, taking advantage of a younger, somewhat inexperienced corner, getting into their blind spot. But this is nice. I would like to see more of this from Keon Coleman in terms of operating with deception in the stem instead of just trying to win with physicality and throwing dudes by on his breaks or separating at the catch point and making contested catches. I would like some more of this refinement. This is an area that Amari Cooper is tremendous at in terms of working with deception in his stems and in his routes. So if Keon could pick up some of that from Amari Cooper, I think that would be absolutely tremendous. But this is nice. Again, it's not the flashiest because there's not a lot of sharpness or suddenness to it. But just that ability to watch it one more time in slow-mo, subtly stem outside to threaten upfield, to threaten the outside shoulder of the corner, gets him to turn around and commit. And then Keon is watching him, stems it back inside, throttles down for the deep curl, then comes back to the football, makes the catch. Nice job there on that one from Keon Coleman. I really like that. Next play, we are going to get into. This is an incomplete pass to Keon Coleman on a 3rd and 7. You're going to get a cover 1 blitz from the Tennessee Titans, meaning you've got man coverage. This is a fine call versus man coverage, and it's been an idea or thought that's been a go-to for Joe Brady to try and create separation for the wide receivers here in terms of using picks or rubs to allow receivers to create separation and find space. My main issue with this one is twofold, and it's not really related to Keon. Dawson Knox is going to get a little too far upfield, and we don't get the best rub or pick to get the corner off of Keon. Knox needs to be sharper in his angle to obstruct the corner. We also get an inaccurate ball from Josh Allen. If this throw is on target, it could be a catch and fall forward, and then maybe you're looking at a 4th and 2 or a 4th and 1, or maybe Keon breaks the tackle and gets even more. So here's Keon to the top of the screen. I'll stop it on the snap here. So you see the blitz coming here, and you can see man coverage, linebacker here on Cook, McCreary on Shakir, man coverage, and here's your safety in the back here. So a little cover 1 blitz from the Titans. And this is what I'm talking about when I say a little sharper angle from Knox. He gets a little too far upfield, and it allows the corner to just kind of slip under him and go with Keon. If he takes a bit of a sharper angle or a more direct angle towards this corner and forces the corner to kind of play off the top or over the top, I should say, or if he creates a collision point here while quote unquote running a route, then you get an even better pick and an even better rub. But I'll show it in slow-mo as we go. You see, it's just a little too far upfield. And some of this is a bit hard, so I understand where Knox is coming from. You don't want to get past that 1 yard legal pick area. You don't want to draw the flag or the offensive pass interference call. So it is understandable, but he gets a little too far upfield, allows the corner to kind of stay on the back of Keon Coleman. And then the second piece here is the ball from Josh Allen. It's a little far out of frame, but also a little understandable for Allen. He's getting pressured right up the gut, so he's trying to spit this thing out there fast. I think if Keon has already got his eyes on the ball, he can probably bring this one in, even though it's a bit off frame. But Allen spits it out early, so Keon's picking up this ball while it's already in flight. And Keon's trying to set up this pick or this rub. He's slow playing it off the line. He's trying to create that obstacle and that trash and that traffic for the corner. So he's trying to slow play it, trying to time this thing out right. But the timing just doesn't work given how quickly Josh Allen gets pressure. Watch it in slow-mo one last time here. See, Allen's already loading up to pull this thing, throws it. Keon is just getting out of the break, just getting his eyes around to Allen and to the ball. He's picking it up mid-flight, and you see it. Ball's just a little bit off frame here. If it is a little more on the numbers or on the chest, maybe Keon brings this in. Again, the timing of it is a little broken based off the pressure and when Allen has to throw it, but you can just see here why everything doesn't work out. The angle from Knox, the pressure, the ball location leads to an incompletion on this target to Keon Coleman. This next one isn't a target for Keon Coleman. It's actually a run play, but I wanted to highlight it because of what Keon Coleman does. The Bills are running mid zone. You'll see this action a lot where they love to jet motion a wide receiver across the formation and then run mid zone. You see this a lot from Joe Brady. He'll spam the hell out of it if it continues to work. Keon is facing man coverage again from Mr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Instead of outright blocking his man, Coleman fakes like he's running a route, which you will see receivers do from time to time. I just like the explosion that he shows here on the release, and I hope he can work more of this into his actual routes. This was nice to see from Keon Coleman here. So you can see Coleman circled at the bottom of the screen. Watch him just whoop. And then you also get a little point from Keon there. A little bit of a haha, gotcha, maybe potentially going there to Mr. Jarvis Brownlee Jr. Forget about the run and how it doesn't work out. I don't know if the Titans had this scouted or if the Bills telegraphed it because, again, you'll see. So bring it here. You're going to see the jet motion. They will run this jet motion across, and they will then run this mid zone to the weak side like they do here. They do it all the time. But watch Coleman down here at the bottom of the screen against Brownlee. Little hesitation, and then bang. Nice stab. He gets Brownlee leaning, stabs back inside. We see some nice explosion off of that stab and off of that jump. Brownlee is reaching to try to get a piece of Coleman, but he cannot. This is nice separation. Again, not a route, not a pass play, but it's nice to see this. I hope he can work this more into his actual routes, into more of his regular repertoire. And then this is where we get maybe a little bit of a point here from Keon saying, aha, got you a little bit there. But this play gets blown up. One more time because I really like this. I know it's not a target and I know it's not a pass play and it might seem small, but this was encouraging to me. He's going to continue to see a lot of press. He saw a lot of press in this game. I thought overall he struggled with it, especially given the skill set that he has and the skill set that Brownlee has, which is the corner he found himself up against the most in this game. He's going to need to add more to his release packages in order to succeed in the NFL in general, but especially when teams are going to press him. And if they think it's a true weakness, you're going to see it a lot. Now, Amari Cooper being on the team gives you another option as this X receiver or this backside receiver in 3x1s and different looks and sets if he's on the line of scrimmage. And the opportunity that Cooper affords Keon Coleman is very nice. But if teams know that this is a weakness, they're going to attack it and exploit it. So this is nice to see that he has the ability to work with a little bit of power and some explosion there in his release. Very encouraging to see from Keon Coleman there. This next one here that we are going to get from the Buffalo Bills and Keon Coleman, another one that is not a target with 3 deep, 3 under look in coverage. Keon is once again one-on-one versus Jarvis Brownlee, who is in off coverage once Dalton Kincaid motions. Keon's going to run a deep out. I like how he attacks the cushion on the snap, but you can see on this one how long it's going to take him to get out of his break. Pay attention to how many steps it takes him versus Jarvis Brownlee. And those too many steps from Coleman plus lack of deception in his stem leads to the lack of separation overall on this play. So there's Keon. Brownlee's going to shift in, off coverage. You can see 5-man pressure. And then as Tennessee drops, you can see the 3 deep, 3 under. They start to go with here. Frame that. But here comes Keon out of the break. And you can see just how many steps it takes him versus how many steps it takes Brownlee. Again, I like how he comes off the snap with pace, urgency, attacking the cushion. But watch how many steps it takes Coleman versus how many it takes Brownlee to gear down and come out of that. And that leads to that lack of separation. Again, this is where you'd like to see some more deception in the stem, maybe some gear change or a pace change, body language, eyes, anything that you can add to it, especially if you're going to have this many steps coming in and out of the break. It's one thing if you just want to, kind of haul it downfield and sell, hey, I'm going 100 miles an hour, I'm pushing upfield. But if you don't have the feet or the flexibility to be able to stop on a dime and gear down in fewer steps to be able to get out of that break quickly, it's going to be hard for you to operate at 100 miles an hour if it's going to take you this long to kind of break down and get out of the route. Good on him, though, for trying to get upfield and find some space for Allen in the scramble drill, though, after. Let's watch it in slow-mo, off the line, so you can just get it into perspective as well. See, there's that first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. like 6 or 7 steps to kind of get out of that break. Brownlee, it takes like 3 to 4, and Brownlee's right there. Next rep for Keon Coleman. This one is an incomplete pass on a 3rd and 3, low, starting to get into the low red zone here. This is almost a tremendous catch. I feel like most people know what this play is. Press coverage again from Brownlee, this time more of a soft shoe where he's mirroring Keon. He's going to get hands on Coleman in his stem, and you almost just get a crazy one-handed catch from Keon Coleman. He just can't get 2 hands on it as he and Brownlee are hand fighting, and then Coleman actually brings this in but loses possession on his way to the ground. This also, I think, is another example of why it's hard to live on contested catches in the NFL. Allen puts it out there. Oh, so close. Brief moment where we think it's a completion and we get some celebration, but it's just not. Again, this is just hard. I don't think this is necessarily a bad play from Keon or a bad ball from Allen. It's hard to live and win on contested catches consistently in the NFL. And again, especially against a corner like Brownlee, I'm going to say this for the 15th time or however many times I've said it, who welcomes physicality, who likes contact, who wants to get his hands on you in the route, in the stem, on the break, who is handsy and grabby and wants to try and beat you up. This is also kind of playing into his wheelhouse a little bit. So it's a bit of, strength on strength, kind of, if you want to look at it that way. And it's almost a tremendous catch from Keon, but he just can't get that second hand on it as he's hand fighting there with Brownlee. We'll watch it and let it play here through the end zone angle just so you can get one more vantage point perspective on it. Allen puts it out there, and it's close. There's Keon reaching out with the one hand right on the ball, and you think, man, he might actually be able to pull this off. Just can't get it in. A little bit of a bobble, not the cleanest one-handed grab, kind of brings it into his midsection. And then we see the loss of possession there, even though he gets the feet down. But again, just another example of why it's hard to consistently live on contested catches in the NFL. This next play is the 57-yard catch and run on 1st down for Keon Coleman. This is a duo run play with a pass tag. This is reminiscent of the rep we saw earlier in the season where Keon wasn't expecting the ball from Allen. Allen threw it to him, and it conked him right in the head. This time, Keon is expecting it, and we see a huge gain. You see pass tags a lot now on runs or attached to runs. All that means is the quarterback has the option to spit the ball out to a pass catcher based on what he sees from the defense. In this case, Allen sees all these bodies in the box plus a single high safety in the back end here. And Keon does a good job creating separation with a 1-foot stab and then darting inside. He takes a good angle to keep himself away from the press corner. And then from there, it's Keon Coleman just being big and athletic after the catch. Run it here in real time. Stab. Ends up getting run down by Quandre Diggs. Again, just pay attention to the release. Another good release for him. It's quick. It's sudden. There's not a lot of wasted movement. It's a quick 1-foot stab and a good angle to create some separation. Even if this tackle is made by Brownlee, it's what? 6 or 7 yard gain on 1st down? That's a win. But then you add in the size and athleticism that Coleman possesses. It was a nice play. Nice encouraging play again from Keon Coleman. Want to focus on the release one more time. Watch how he goes upfield. Bang. Stabs that foot right into the ground. Gets inside, gets his eyes right on Allen. Takes a good angle to where the space is, to where the area of opportunity is to attack against this defense. Nice. This last one that I want to take a look at here is a 10-yard catch for Keon Coleman on 2nd and 8. If you've noticed the theme here through all his catches in this game ended up being a 1st down. And that's not going to happen all the time. It was kind of just a matter of circumstance in this one, but a nice little nugget here that all of his catches in this game, 4 catches on 7 targets for reference, but all his catches in this game went for a 1st down. You're basically going to get a flood concept for the Bills off of play action. Keon Coleman running a deep over. Nothing crazy. It's just nice to see him separate across the field. I'm also going to show the end zone angle so you can get a better sense of that separation. I also like the quick swipe of Brownlee's hands that Coleman uses to create some initial breathing room to try and stay clean on his release here. So there's Coleman at the top. We're going to go in slow-mo first. He's already stemming this inside. Brownlee goes to reach. Watch just a quick swipe. There it is. To kind of keep those hands down. Then he's going to get across field. Brownlee's in chase mode. Again, nothing crazy. Right from the beginning again. Nothing crazy. Allen sees him, puts it on him. I like how Keon bows this out a little bit towards Allen, sees that defender, steps a little bit closer to Allen on the catch. Also going to watch it from the end zone angle here. Keon's going to be coming from the left side of your screen. Here's Keon and Brownlee right here, and just look at the separation. That's nice. Run away from a guy, some strides, some speed, lower the shoulder, take the ball into contact. First down for Keon Coleman. Overall, an obviously encouraging performance for Keon Coleman, his first 100 receiving yard game in the NFL. His previous season high was 51 yards against the Baltimore Ravens in week 4 and against the Arizona Cardinals in week 1. So it's, again, nice to see him starting to find more success. Coincidentally or not, that his first 100-yard receiving game comes in Amari Cooper's first game in a Bills uniform. So we'll see how that continues to track and trend going forward. I think the addition of Cooper is obviously a boon for the offense and should go a long way, or could go a long way, I should say, to opening things up more for Coleman and Kincaid and Shakir, and even the run game potentially going forward. So excited to continue to break that down and track that. But nice to see from Coleman. Again, him coming out of Florida State, what he was at Michigan State, who he is in terms of a player and where he is in his development and trajectory with experience and where he played and coming into the NFL. There is that lack of refinement. There is that lack of technicality. I think at this point, he's still very much a win with tools and traits and physical aspects of his game right now, which is fine. I think hopefully those technical aspects and that refinement will come. I was very encouraged by some of his release pieces in this game. I was also very encouraged by that deception in the stem that I showed, where he was able to work into the blind spot on the deep curl. So we're starting to see some little flashes here and there. And I think that's fine given where he is as a player and what he is as a player right now, especially coming out of college and everything kind of put in together from a context perspective. It would be great if he hit the ground running and was already polished and ready to be a high-end wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1 right now. But I do think we have to kind of let him simmer, let him cook a little bit, and allow him to develop the finer points of his game and pair that with the natural gifts that he has. And hopefully we'll continue to see that from Keon Coleman. That'll do it for this film edition of Disguise Coverage. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it here on YouTube. Turn on notifications for the Disguise Coverage playlist if you are able to, and then subscribe to the Cover One channel. Tell your family and friends and loved ones about this show, about the brand, about the channel. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And again, for the regular viewers and watchers of this show, I will be dropping the regular in-season matchup episode, in-week matchup episode of Bills versus Seahawks later in this week. Again, that was done to accommodate the guests that I have to talk Bills Seahawks with me. But that'll do it for us here. I hope you and your family and friends and loved ones are all doing well and staying safe. Be kind to one another. Take care of one another. I'll see you when I see you. Godspeed. And as always, go Bills.